Hello everybody, this is Mr. DSi Review, and today I'm bringing you guys the next episode of This Week in Nintendo 3DS News. This episode will cover from Tuesday, November 1st to Sunday, November 6th. It's actually been a pretty slow news week. There are only a few things I have to discuss today, and only one, debatably two of them, are actually big pieces of news. But anyway, starting off with one smaller piece of news, apparently Super Mario 3D Land is actually not going to even have a paper instruction manual, and is going to completely have a digital one within the game. And that's kind of interesting for a couple reasons. First off, obviously less paper, better for the environment, costs a little less for Nintendo to produce it. But then on the other hand, I generally think that the paper instruction manuals are kind of cool, even though I really don't read them for the instructions, or if I do, it's very rarely. Sometimes they are legitimately useful, and often they have cool artwork. Plus, they're just nice to have. But we can probably expect that future big name titles, like for example Mario Kart, are going to do the same thing. Next is that Super Mario 3D Land is actually going to contain some firmware update elements of its own. As to why this is, I don't know, but it will. I mean, they shouldn't be exclusive firmware update elements. That's silly, but it's still noteworthy. And kind of going along with that, it seems that there is going to be an update to the friends list. So if you can see, it's a little hard to tell from the snapshot, but at the top you can see join game. Obviously it's not highlighted by any means, but I guess if someone's playing a game that supports um, online play, multiplayer online play, and you can join them, well, there you go, you can do it right from the friend list. So that's interesting. Next bit of news is the price of Resident Evil Revelations, and that it's actually going to cost $50 rather than the standard $40. And there's a couple reasons for this. One of them is that it's going to be on a 4 GB game cartridge as opposed to the usual 2 GB. And apparently, it's also supposed to be a massive game with very nice cutscenes and something like 20 hours of story mode gameplay. So, I mean, I'll probably still get it. $50, I don't know. I've heard that some retailers are going to end up just selling it for 40 anyway, and if I can find it for 40, then I'll almost definitely pick it up. But at 50, well, it's still not exorbitant or anything. For some people, that definitely is going to make or break their decision to buy the game. Because, you know, when you take into consideration that it is still just a 3DS game, just a handheld game, that's kind of a lot. Next bit of news is a minor one. It's a game called Block Factory, which is one of those falling block puzzle games that, you know, there are all sorts of, and it's going to be coming to the 3DS. And apparently you can create your own little puzzles and actually share them with QR codes, and it's going to come to the 3DS eShop. So that should be interesting. And, you know, like I said, pretty minor news there. Anyway, I suppose the biggest piece of news from the week is regarding a new Zelda game for the Nintendo 3DS. So, IG Aonuma has stated, "We are already preparing a new game, a game in the series for the Nintendo 3DS, but I don't think that it is a direct sequel to the Zelda titles released on DS. We're talking about a new game, but it takes much of what has been done on previous consoles." So that kind of tells us three things really, and one is that there's going to be a new Zelda for 3DS, which, to be honest, that's not huge news. We could have assumed we were going to get one anyway, because there always is one. Two, it probably won't be related to Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, which isn't a huge deal to me. I mean, I like those games and all, but I've never been incredibly interested with the Zelda storyline, even though it generally is pretty good. And it also suggests that because they don't really know if it's going to be related to the Zelda titles, or maybe they just don't want to admit, but it suggests that the game's still in really early development, and it's the statement, "we're talking about a new game," basically means that it won't be a remake, and it's very possible that we'll see Majora's Mask 3D become a game at some point. I guess that means that we're going to see a brand new 3DS Zelda before then. So I'm assuming that we'd probably see this game maybe a year from now or even later. So then if Majora's Mask becomes a thing, maybe like 2013 would be a year for that. So, like I said, not a whole ton of news. That's really about it for this week. As always, you can follow up with the news on my website. If you like this video, then please rate, comment, subscribe. Send this to your friends. I'm sure they'd like to know Nintendo news as well. Like I said, check out my website because that's when I post big stories throughout the week. Check out my other videos, and I will see you guys next time.